Mm-hmm. Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Tyler. Welcome back to the Tyler Williams channel, and welcome to another review of American Horror Story. I've been actually pretty consistent with these guys. I've been watching them back to back, week to week, and I've done a review for the past 4 weeks. I'm proud of myself. Got to give myself a pat on the back for actually keeping to this one. And it's for good reason. One, because I like doing the reviews, and two, because this show's been good for the past 4 weeks. I've been interested. It's kept me peeled to my TV the whole entire time. So that's a plus on FX's side. I mean, they're doing a good job producing what they're doing. So is American Horror Story producers and whatnot. So hey, all the power to them. They're doing a pretty good job here. So without further ado, let's get into this review of American Horror Story Season 6, American Horror Story Roanoke Nightmare, Chapter 4, which / is Episode 4. I'm going to try to do a summary of this episode. Try not to explain the whole entire thing, because that's what I usually do, but I'm going to try not to do it this time. Even though, actually, no, I'm not going to say I'm not going to try not to do it. I'm going to try to do it without trying to save the whole entire episode. Get some key parts here. Got a few key parts on my phone, and I didn't write them all down, so let me pull them up. Oh yeah, so we start off the first episode with Shelby and Matt arguing, because the last episode ended when Matt was like basically banging that one chick in the woods, the Lady Gaga's character. I still don't know her name. And Shelby's like, who is she? Who is she? Because, Shelby, she snitched on, what's the name? Lee, got her locked up. So, at this point, she's still like all angry and whatnot. She's like pushing Matt around. Matt's like crying, like, I don't understand. I don't know why I blacked out. All this kind of stuff. Like, he legitimately was not aware of anything that was happening at the time, which is kind of sad. But, all right. Huh. Sorry about that. Kind of tired. What are you gonna do, right? So after that whole fiasco, we wake up, and Matt, I believe Shelby's like in the bathroom or something. I don't know what she was doing in the bathroom. But a guy in a pig mask, who we gonna assume is either dead or we're gonna assume he's dead. Guy in a pig mask swings at Shelby. I believe he has a knife in his hand. Shelby runs down the steps. Now, at first I thought it was like a hallucination or a dream, but then Matt tackles the pig, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not a dream. This is actually happening. So they're both on. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is actually real. They're actually like getting chased by this thing. They're running, and then here comes a guy from out. First, we thought it was Lee, because something stopped the pig. It hit the pig, and the pig fell to the ground. We thought it was Lee, but I was like, well, it can't be Lee, because Lee's in jail. So how could Lee have escaped? That doesn't make any sense. So it turns out to be the guy from the video, Elias, the guy from the video in episode 2. And pig gets back up and he's like, Crow, it's Owen. And then the pig just disappears. I'm like, oh, okay, like Avada Kedavra. And then the pig just disappeared. I mean, it didn't say Avada Kedavra, but that's basically what it was. So Elias is in the house now. I mean, Shelby and Matt remember this guy from the video. They don't know exactly if everything he said was true, but they remember the guy from the video. So they decided to listen to him, since he did make the pig go away. Matt wasn't trying to hear it. Once again, I'm tired of them being so damn skeptical about every single little thing that happens. Every time they mention some type of apparition, some type of solution to the problem, they always got to be skeptical of something. It annoys me to no end. They're like, well, how do I know whether to believe him or not? Or he could be a scam artist. Or this could be all just some little joke or a hallucination, or we getting enough. They constantly try to find ways to stay in that house, and it is angering me so. I mean, don't get me wrong. If they moved out of the house, that would be the end of the season. I'd be happy, but the season would be over pretty quickly. But it annoys me to no end that every single time they're confronted with the issue, they immediately go to, well, it could be this or it could be that. When proof is right there in front of their face, they have this doubt that it's not actually there. And it's just like, stop doing that. Just leave the house. Whew, I would have left the house on the first apparition I saw. They're about to get like manslaughter by like hundreds of them, and they still try to stay in the house. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? I would have been out of here by now. Something was wrong with them. So Matt's trying to kick out Elias because, you know, we don't believe you. You're a scam artist. We're just gonna die on our own. Because, you know, everyone doesn't want to believe what they want. They just want to believe their own mind and end up dead like everyone else. So Elias convinces Matt that, you know, and he really didn't need to say much else because, you know, he watched the video from episode 2, and practically everything he said in that video has been happening. He talked about Priscilla. He talked about the butcher. He didn't talk too much about the sisters, but he talked about living in the house and all that kind of stuff. So he elaborated on some of that stuff, not everything, but some of that stuff in episode 1. So at this point, it's like he's already explained enough, and the fact that he's there in the presence, in the flesh, should tell you right then and there that what he's saying is going to be true. What are you doubting him for, Matt? Like, it was just angry me to no end. This Matt's trying to kick him out of the house. I'm like, oh my god. I mean, he didn't kick him out of the house because Shelby told him to stay. Because Shelby had some sense here. She's like, wait a minute, that guy knows about the pig, and the guy said Croto and the pig disappeared. So obviously he knows something. So he told him to stay. Elias starts to tell the story about how the Merge sisters were, you know, we already learned about how I call them the Merge sisters, but they were the sisters that ran a hospital inside the house. They were torturing and killing their patients. I call them the Merge sisters. He tells the story about how the Merge sisters were caught by the butcher and basically killed. One of the Merge sisters had her arms stretched out to the point where her limbs were torn straight off of her torso, and she bled out. And then the other sister, she was decapitated by the butcher's butcher knife. That was interesting to see. A lot of gore in this episode. So if you're someone who doesn't like blood, then this is not the episode for you. Trust me, I'll get to that at the end of the episode, because that was just, woo, that was a lot of gore in the last moments of the episode. So we started to get a little bit more limelight on everything. We start to get limelight more on the butcher, and we start to get a little bit more into why these things are happening. And the reason these things are happening is because of this house was established on top of a colony that was established hundreds of years ago. Then this colony somehow miraculously disappeared. How did it disappear? We don't exactly know. But this colony disappeared. They're the ghosts now. They haunt your house because that was originally their colony. And they only scared by the word proton. I mean, not all of them. I think it doesn't work with some of them, because we saw that later on in the episode. But fast forward a little bit. They go out to the woods to look for Flora, because once again, Flora is still missing. Poor little girl. They go out looking for Flora. Shelby, let me get Lexi here. Lexi was watching the episode. She was sleeping partway through. Shelby comes across the girl who was banging, Matt was unconsciously banging. So she goes to chase after her, and she comes across men. These men, their faces are blown off. Some of them are just like completely deteriorated, and they have like guns and arrows and all types of stuff ready to kill Shelby. She's like, Croatoan, and then here comes Elias. He's like, that doesn't work out here. He's like, I don't know if that only works in hospital. Like, he's like, that doesn't work out here. So they start to run away from the guys, and then they come across Matt, who's looking on. And they look around and they look at and they see what Matt's seeing, and they see Flora, and she's not in her normal clothes. She's like with Priscilla and a bunch of other ghosts playing some type of game. I don't know what they were playing exactly, but they decide to look on. Matt goes to run after her, and Elias is like, "No, that's not a good idea because you don't want to provoke them, and then they kill you right on the spot." Because they do a Flora, they kill Flora right on the spot too. He's like, I know Priscilla, let me talk to her. So he goes over, he tries to sweet talk Priscilla. He's like, hi Priscilla, try to hand over Flora, please. Thank you very much. He didn't say all that, but you get the point. Next thing you know, I don't want to say Indians or Native. I want to go, I'm going to be on the safe side and go with Native Ghost or Native American Ghost. They came out with arrows and they shot down at Elias. I'm like, oh, interesting. So now Elias is bleeding out. He's dead. Shelby and sorry, I was hearing a weird sound. So Shelby and what's it called? Shelby and Matt run off to the house. They scurry away because now Elias is dead. One of their very few sources is now dead. So that's amazing, right? And now they get back to the house, and here comes the little midget ghost whisperer. I forgot his name. I think it's like Cricket something. But I'm gonna call him the midget. No, not the midget. That's kind of offensive. The little ghost whisperer. He's the LGW. And here comes LGW, like, yeah, you're finally gonna listen to me now? Basically, with his gray hair and everything. So now now it's like they have no choice but to listen to him because the guy who had all their answers supposedly is now dead. So now they have to listen to the Cricket, the LGW. So LGW, she's basically telling more about the Butcher and how the backstory goes back to how the Butcher once was leading the colony, and then they were kind of against her. So she decided, okay, well, it was set up like the Last Supper, and I thought those was very clever of them because how she was going to make them before that. The Gaga character, whoever that is, she was with the Butcher after they all left their little group session or whatever, and she was convincing the Butcher, like, okay, they're not listening to you, so you gotta make them listen to you. Establish your dominance. Assert some discipline up in this bitch. She didn't say that directly, but that's basically a gist of what she said. It was also established that Lady Gaga's character is basically the powerful one. She's the one who's kind of running the show, so to speak. She's running the show without running the show, if you know what I mean. She's off screen pulling the strings, even though the one with the actual title here is the Butcher, if you know what I mean by that. So she convinces the Butcher to go out and establish her dominance. How she did that? She set up at the Last Supper. She got all of her colony all at one table. She's like, yeah, we're going to have a feast. She pulls out something. She gets out an apple. It's like, okay, we're going to feast upon these apples as a way to commemorate so-and-so. And they're like, cheers. And they all bite into their apples. Even her son did, because her son disobeyed her too. And they all start coughing and coughing as if they were Hillary Clinton pre-presidential debate. They're all coughing now. She takes a butcher knife and kills her son first. I'm like, oh, okay, there is no remorse. No, this is my son. How am I going to do nothing there? Just straight up butcher knife right in the chest. Didn't even flinch or blink an eye. Straight up killed her son first. Then one by one, she ran around, slicing necks, chopping heads, all types of things, just killing all of her colony one by one. I'm like, God damn, she had no remorse for that. None at all. So after she was finished killing her whole entire colony, she then got her on both knees, sacrificed herself to the higher power. I'm just going to call Lady Gaga's character the higher power because I still don't have a name for her yet. sacrificed herself for the higher power by basically giving her the butcher knife. The higher power then slit her throat. She died, and they all became ghosts because of it. When they became ghosts, I guess in that ghost realm, they all have to serve the butcher. So that's kind of why they serve the butcher now. My TV cut off for a few minutes, so I didn't know exactly what happened in the 5 to 10 minute span. But when I got back to it, it was a point where Matt and Shelby were back in the house looking. This was towards the end, basically. Matt and Shelby were in the house debating on how they're going to do this and do that with the LGW. And she went out. Well, LGW went out the first time talking about how she was going to talk to the higher power about, how she can get back Priscilla. And the higher power is basically telling her a little bit about her backstory. Well, that's how we got into how the butcher killed the people, was by the higher power taking LGW to back in time. So that's how that all happened. That's how we revisited that flashback. I forgot to put that in there, so my apologies if I jumped over the place from there. But after that, we then get to LGW saying, okay, I need more answers, because they're like, well, how are you going to get more answers? He's like, you got to go to the head of the horse, which is the higher power again. So he goes to the higher power again. Shelby and Matt wait in the house. And at this point, it's been out. He left the nighttime. By the time, what happened? That by the time he came back, it was daytime, I believe. No, he came back in the daytime the first time. The second time, he didn't even come back. We're going to find out why he didn't come back in a few minutes. Or in a few seconds, to say. So the reason he didn't come back was because they were doing a little trade-off. They saw Flora. Well, no. Matt went out to find the higher power, and she did. The higher power led him down to the little cellar where he found the tapes from Elias at. So he went down to that cellar, and there was the higher power, and he's like, well, what are you doing down here? And then he fell for the trance. They were about to start hooking up. They practically did start hooking up. So Shelby is looking around the house for something. She finally comes across the butcher and all this type of stuff. I believe she started screaming about something. Matt comes back up because he gets out of that trance, gets away from the higher power, goes back up to the surface area to where Shelby is screaming. The butcher finally comes. The butcher has Flora too. Flora and Priscilla with her. So she's like, surrender one of the two. And Matt's trying to talk to Priscilla. And the butcher's like, no, we're about to kill you or whatever. So I believe Priscilla lets Flora go. And Flora runs to Matt and Shelby. And because of this, the butcher slaps Priscilla upside her head, which was kind of a little bit funny, I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, what were you gonna do? Kill her again? She's already a ghost. It's not. I don't think you could kill a ghost. You can't kill what's already dead. So yeah. That being said, slap Priscilla upside of the head. They go upstairs to resuscitate Flora. Try to check on her because her clothes are all torn up. She looks to be in bad shape physically, like in the face or everything else. Not like beat up physical, like as in like you look sick physical. And she's like, Shelby's feeling her arm. She's like, this isn't Flora's blood. It's too cold. She doesn't look okay. They're asking Flora what's wrong, and she says, the man. And they're like, who? What man? And she's like, the man. And she turns around. She looks outside, and they're like, oh my God, the LGW. So they look outside, and LGW's outside. And then we get to a reenactment. We get to the reenactment, which they did less of the reenactment in this episode, which I was happy about. They did another reenactment, but this time was of an Uber driver. I couldn't help but chuckle. I was laughing for a minute when I saw an Uber driver pop up as one of the reenactments. I was dying. I was like, why is there an Uber driver on here? They just had thrown that pop culture reference. They just had to. They couldn't help themselves. They just couldn't help themselves. So the Uber driver's explaining, like, well, I was just trying to take this guy to where he needed to go, and that's when this event happened. And LGW was in the back of the Uber car, and he's like, so, you ever heard of gay for pay? And I was dying at that point. I was so done with the shit. I was so done. And then the guy stops the car abruptly. He's like, I was just asking, jeez. That was a chuckle-worthy moment. But he didn't stop because the gay for pay, because I'm sure he probably was DTF. But no, he stopped because he saw a little girl on the street. Stopped the car. The little girl ran across the street. The little girl was Flora. She's like, oh, dear Lord, it's Flora. She got out of the car, chased after Flora, and that's how we found Flora. Except in the case of finding Flora, LGW was caught by the butcher. Now, this is where the great part comes in. So they look on as the butcher brings out LGW, takes her butcher knife, stabs him in the stomach, but this time she didn't just stab him. She took her butcher knife and she wrenched that into his stomach, like into the meat, into the core. Probably was all up in his insides. Just she was stirring a pot, just wrenching it inside of his whole body. But she didn't stop there. She then asked for a hook, and at this point, I'm like, she's about to gut him. Oh my god. She's about to get this hook, take his guts, and pull, and then that's what she did. Hook into the hook. Now this dude's over here crying and whatnot, and I would be too, because you just stabbed me with a butcher. You didn't just stab me, you carved me out with a butcher knife, basically. She was carving a hole in this dude's stomach. And mind you, this guy's still alive throughout the whole entire thing. So that's got to be very painful. So now she takes a hook, swirls around the inside, gets a hold of some guts, and just pulls the guts out of his body, stretching it out. I'm just like, this is way too much. Good thing I have a somewhat of a strong stomach to this kind of stuff, so I wasn't like, oh, but I was like, that was disgusting. Just totally just pulling the guts out of his stomach as he was still alive. And then after she pulled the guts to a certain length, she took out the butcher knife. She pointed at Matt and Shelby and Flora because they were inside. She knew they were watching. She pointed at them and said, "You're next." She didn't say it, but she basically all but said, "You're next." And the episode ends, and I'm like, whoa, this stuff is getting good, guys. We're getting really into this story. I'm really liking it. It's having me coming back every single Wednesday, which a show should always do. And they're doing a great job with it. So that's, if you've not seen this episode, make sure you go watch it. If you haven't seen the American Horror Story Season 6 yet, make sure you watch it. It's been good so far. It's not too late to catch up. We're only on episode 4 right now. You don't worry about having to start from season 1 because none of the seasons are connected per se. So, yeah, I'd say watch the season from the beginning. If you are watching the season now and you just wanted to see some reactions to it, comment down below. What are your predictions about the season? What are your opinions about this episode? What do you think's gonna happen with Shelby, Flora? Do you think Flora's dead? Because the speculation right here is that Flora is possibly already dead. Do you think Flora's dead? Please leave that comment in the section down below. Is Flora dead or is she alive? And I'll be reading your comments. Make sure you like this video, share it around, subscribe. I love each and every single one of your faces. Once again, guys, a lot of videos are going to be coming out soon. I got this coming out every single Wednesday. We're going to do a little bit more streams this week. W2K17 is being released next Tuesday. I'm streaming that. Make sure if you love W2K16, you'll love 2K17, which I'm going to be streaming live next Tuesday when it gets released. Once again, I love each and every single one of you. Thank you for supporting this channel. I gained about 70 subscribers in the past month. So for all of you who's just subscribed to this channel, thank you so much. Welcome to this channel. Just know that you're going to have so much fun here. I love you guys once again, and I will talk to you all later. Peace out.